Welcome to tonight's meeting, September 7th. First, we'll do a moment of silence. As you know, Hurricane Ida definitely devastated a lot of communities this week, and especially Norristown and Bridgeport. And we want to send our thoughts and prayers out to all those people who were affected. We are continuously having calls and talking to everybody that we possibly can to get everything in order. We want to thank our public works team for doing a great job as it keeps coming. We also want to say that we will be waiving code permits in regards to anyone who was affected by Hurricane Ida. Our thoughts and prayers are definitely out with everybody who was affected. And then now we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, I was waiting. I was just giving it some time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, can we have roll call, please?
Valerie Norman.
Here.
Hakeem Jones.
Here.
Cindy Sanders.
Here.
Heather Lewis. Rebecca Smith.
Here.
Thomas LaPera.
Here.
Larry Curry.
Here. Can we have a motion to approve minutes from last meeting? Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We did not have an executive session tonight. Vice President LaPera, do we have any announcements?
Yes. This week, Montgomery County will operate a multi-agency resource center, MARC Center, they're calling it, for residents affected by Hurricane Ida. The MARC Center will be open from Wednesday, September 8th, noon to 7th, and Thursday, September 9th, 9 to 5, right here at 2 West Lafayette Street in this building here. Multiple county, state agencies, including Quitclaim, Red Cross, CareerLink, the Department of Commerce, Public Safety, Recorder of Deeds, just about anybody and everybody you would need to get in touch with for multiple issues of sustained by the storm.
Council, any other announcements? Okay, seeing none. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comments?
Andrew Green.
Hi,
Can you state your name and your address, please?
my name is Andrew Green. I currently live at 1515 DeKalb Street, Unit 109. What I'd like to bring to the council's attention is that the Human Relations Committee, I believe it's called, has not had any appointments since its initiation in 2018, sans one, and I would like to draw attention in hopes of having that commission be brought back into effect.
That's it.
That's it. I will give anyone who wants to do a public comment the opportunity to speak now. You have 3 minutes to speak if you want to speak.
If you are here to comment on one of the hearings, there will be two public hearings tonight. There will be an opportunity, the council will open a public hearing. There will be exhibits marked. There will be a brief summary on the first public hearing from Ms. Massagne. On the second public hearing, a presentation from M&M and the Redevelopment Authority. And then council will have questions, and there will be an opportunity for the public to comment on those hearing items, just so everyone understands.
But if you have anything else,
If you have anything else.
we will gladly take your public comment now. All right. Seeing none. Ms. Massagne, can you do project 118-120 East Main Street, please?
I would suggest a motion to open the public hearing.
A motion to open up the public hearing to request conditional use to amend the previous approval on 10/4/20 for mixed-use project at 118-120 East Main Street.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Masonia.
Thank you very much, Mr. President Perry and Ms. Massani. I'm just going to go ahead and mark some exhibits so we have them for the record. M1 will be a copy of the advertisement of this public hearing. M2 will be a copy of the proposed ordinance and application. M3 will be the recommendations of our own planning commission. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Massani.
Thank you, Solicitor. Good evening, council members. Tonight before you is the request for conditional use amendment for the 118-120 East Main Street, otherwise known as the Bear Building. Council is very aware of this proposal. It's come before you on several occasions. It came as a concept in 2019 just to familiarize council with what they were looking to do. They were looking for a mixed-use building where it was going to include various businesses, the East Park, Brews Pub, Sports Bar, Willis Brothers, Bike Shop, Car Detail, and also a yoga studio. They also came and got conditional approval from council on October 4th of 2020. Now, in these types of uses, if any changes are made in the course of, they have to come back to council actually to receive approval of the changes that are made. When I spoke to the developer basically said that they did not see a need for the yoga studios or demand for the yoga studios that they had determined before when they presented to council, and therefore they were proposing to add 2 more apartments where the yoga studio space was going to be. That being the case, they have to come back to council for approval. So they would still be having those other uses that I mentioned, and instead of the yoga, 2 more apartments for a total of 17 apartments, as opposed to the 15 apartments that you previously approved. They did go to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission recommended approval to council, and tonight we're seeking council's approval for this change. The Planning Department has no objections to the proposal or the amendment as it's made tonight.
Council, any questions? We will now go over to the public. Public, do you have any questions in regards to what is being stated?
If there are none,
Okay,
President
seeing
Perry, I
none.
suggest a motion to close the public hearing.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing to request conditional use to amend the previous approval on October 4th, 2020 for a mixed-use project at 118-120 East Main Street, Bear Building?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? All right, can we have do we do
motion to approve the
Yep,
conditional
we'll do a motion to approve the conditional use to amend the previous approval of October 4th, 2020 for a mixed-use project at 118-120 East Main Street, Bear Building.
Motion.
Second.
All in, Madam Secretary, we'll do a roll call.
Valerie Newman.
Aye.
Hakeem Jones.
Aye.
Sonia Sanders. Aye. Rebecca Smith.
Aye.
Thomas LaPera.
Aye.
Derek Perry.
Aye. The ayes have it, motion passes.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion to open the public hearing on, to approve the redevelopment proposal of M&M Partners for redevelopment of the Main Street and DeKalb parcel, conditioned upon M&M Partners executing a redevelopment contract satisfactory to the municipality and to the redevelopment authority?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mark some exhibits. I'm going to mark as Municipal 1, the affidavit publication in the Times Herald. As M2, the letter to the municipality Planning Commission dated July 16, 2021 from Ms. Fritches talking about the proposal. And M3, which is the Planning Commission minutes of August 10th, 2021, voting to recommend this proposal. Ms. Masania, did you want to give a brief explanation and then turn it over to the RDA and M&M?
Certainly, thank
Okay.
you. Council members, this is indeed a great day for Norristown. It's been a while, when I say a while, since the late 90s, when the properties on Main Street actually were unfortunately vacated. And we've been looking to see the development of this site for a very long time. Excuse me if I get emotional. But this is indeed a great day. We're looking to see if we can have a mixed-use development at this particular site. We view this development as a catalyst for the development for downtown. I believe you have looked at very critically at the 4 proposals that you received. You've had back and forth conversations to make sure you understood what it is that was being presented. The developer went to the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission was not only impressed, but they did recommend approval to council. I know we have the Redevelopment Authority tonight that is going to go into the technicalities of it. From the Planning Department's point of view, we feel this is a great victory for this day, so we urge council to please approve this proposal. That's what I have to say.
Rebecca, you want to speak?
Am I good here?
Yes, you're fine.
Rebecca Swanson with the Redevelopment Authority of Montgomery County. We've been involved in this process since my entire time at the Redevelopment Authority, which has only been less than a year. But we've gone through the proposals. Council, you're obviously familiar with all of the proposals that came in, went back and forth through the process. Under the Urban Redevelopment Law, the Redevelopment Authority is the current owner of the parcels at the corner of Main and DeKalb. As we've seen all the proposals through the process, the Redevelopment Authority believes that this is a very strong proposal. As Ms. Bisogni said, it is a catalyst for future development on Main Street. We believe it represents the highest and best use of this parcel, and the Redevelopment Authority, subject to formal vote of our board, is supportive of this proposal as presented. And MM Partners, whose proposal it is, will be doing a little public presentation.
And sir, what we'll do is, if you can email me a copy of this PowerPoint, and we'll mark this as M4, just so it's clear for the record.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, thanks everyone, really appreciate it. It's very refreshing to do these types of meetings in person again. So you'll notice that there are 4 people on the screen. Obviously there are only 2 of us here. So Dave and Eli are celebrating the Jewish holiday with their families, but definitely thought it would be, significant to kind of introduce them, although they're not here with us. They've been immersed in the process from day one, and they've been, really critical team members to helping us conceptualize what Main and DeKalb could become. So Dave Waxman, he founded MM Partners in 2007, 2008. He was in Brewerytown since 2001. And we'll kind of get into the similarities between Brewerytown and in the North Philadelphia area and Norristown, and how the visions are aligned. Eli is with LRK Architects. He would be the lead architect on the project, and he really immersed himself in the history of Norristown, really juxtaposing historical elements with a more contemporary building and facade to really draw people in and create that desirability for people to actually move and commercial and retail tenants to actually operate a successful and thriving business on Main Street. Chris is MM Partners Director of Construction, and I'm with MM, and I refer to myself as the boring numbers guy. So dealing with all of the lenders and the investors and things of that nature.
And I get to deal with the exciting design and construction part of our business. And I think one of the real strengths of our proposal was that we've assembled a team, in addition to MM Partners and LRK Architects. We also have our own in-house property management company that would handle the eventual care of the property and leasing. And then we've also put together a team of partners that have worked together successfully on similar size projects. So a key team member would be Tester Construction Group, which we're working on a very similar size scale project. And our proposal was informed by the sort of live numbers from the field in terms of construction costs, because as everyone knows, right now the construction commodities market is very volatile. So we felt like that was a key part of our intelligence in terms of bringing that real live data to bear on how we framed up the proposal. Joe, do you want to talk a little bit about some of our similar experience?
Sure. Yeah, so here are a couple different projects that we've done in the city of Philadelphia. We as developers, we have an affinity for restoring historic buildings. We also have an affinity for, again, juxtaposing the historical elements that made, communities and neighborhoods what they were, and kind of, again, just bringing in some really interesting contemporary design elements. So this was actually an old hospital. North Philadelphia Healthcare System owned it. It went bankrupt in 2018. And a lot of the existing elements of the lobby were true to the original use or the former use of the hospital. And we wanted to utilize that and kind of accentuate that and bring that to life, and again, kind of implement a little bit more of a contemporary design. The bottom left, that's the facade. Again, the name of the Civic was homage to the historical elements of the neighborhood, and kind of doing a little bit more research on some of the people that were really kind of developing the neighborhood earlier on. This is the project that Chris was referencing, the ground up project on 16th and West Girard. This is actually on the parking lot of the old hospital building. And that's where we extrapolate a lot of the cost data and a lot of just the, kind of general contractor and subcontractor bids. And then these are all just, all the other photos. That's a ground up project that we did, and then these two buildings were historic. So between all of these projects, we have about 70,000 square feet of commercial and retail. And that is a very important component of all the projects and all the buildings that we bring to life. We think that if there are thriving small businesses, entrepreneurs, and we can create a platform where someone could come in and start a business and give back to the community and make people, want to sit in a coffee shop and work from home and things of that nature, that's ultimately going to put people in units, living there, enjoying all of the kind of ancillary benefits of the community.
And I think an important part of our practice as developers and builders is really becoming engaged with the communities in which we work. So these are all images from our involvement over the years in Brewery Town. And again, it's really a lot of our success is in engaging the life of the street and taking advantage of the context that exists in a place, and that was very much the case in Brewery Town, and we think that in Norristown, that same kernel of a real downtown historic fabric exists, and is a huge thing for us to as a point of departure for our project.
Yeah, so this is along Girard Avenue. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Brewery Town is a continuous commercial and retail corridor from about 25th Street to about 30th Street. And in the earlier days of Brewery Town, from 2001 to almost as recent as 3 years ago, the buildings and the bones were incredible. They were aesthetically pleasing, they had historical elements. You could see the cornices are kind of hand cut. And the retail and the commercial corridor really anchored the residential kind of going north into kind of other parts of Philadelphia. These are the original facades and what they looked like prior to us getting in there and giving a little bit of TLC and updating them and providing building owners some capital. And then here's what they look like today. So you can see that that's a ground up building on the corner. And again, we tried to tie in the existing facades of the buildings that weren't demolished or weren't structurally kind of dilapidated. And again, just kind of beautify the exterior facades and engage in the local art mural society, get artists and get painters to kind of do some really interesting original artwork on the facades of the building, and then just enhance the kind of storefronts and curb appeal, if you will.
And I think, taking advantage of, again, the urban fabric that exists in Norristown or in Brewery Town, it's really important to us that, community is made up of old and new, and, all the life of the street is something that, for us, is what drives our business with residential rentals, that you have to have a lively and active streetscape to be successful at what we do. And we saw that in Brewery Town. And what year did we start working in Brewery Town, Joe?
So unofficially in 2001, and then kind of formalized the company in 2007, 2008.
And I think we see that same life and spark and really a healthy commercial and retail environment in Norristown. And I think that's really part of what excites us and what makes us think that this is a viable project, and future projects as well are viable in Norristown. With the density and the transit hub here, we feel like it's a real a win-win for us. So So this is sort of our vision of Main and DeKalb. You can see a lot of focus on that life of the street, kind of bringing the inside out and the outside in as much as we can. And also, at the same time, still respecting the historic fabric of the neighborhood and of Norristown in terms of the building massing and the building materials. And we believe this site can really give a lot back to the town. Our point of departure for the design was really the history of Norristown, as a commercial center, as the seat of the county, and as a place where people want to come and shop and be. We took special sort of inspiration from the commercial and retail landscape that we found in doing our research. And you can see in the new facade, we're kind of playing on that sort of almost like a department store vocabulary in terms of that signage and this ground floor band that speaks to the scale of the smaller buildings in the neighborhood, but then with the mass of a center, sort of a center point piece of the neighborhood with the apartments above. This is just quickly, on the left side there is the site plan. So Main Street at the bottom and DeKalb going up the right-hand side. And we have parking in the back. And in our proposal, we proposed several different approaches to the parking. And I think that was maybe another strong part of our proposal, is that we proposed several iterations of different solutions of how parking can work on this site. So I think we're really ready and willing, and a part of the success of our practice has been working with the municipal authorities and finding a solution that really works for everyone. And I think it's probably worth stating that, following the approval from council, we would still go through all the appropriate channels in terms of building department review, zoning. So a lot of this is still, is sort of conceptual in nature, but will be in accordance with all the applicable codes and laws. This is the ground floor plan. So you see there's about 11,000 square feet of commercial space fronting on Main Street. And then up DeKalb, which if you can imagine, is a hill coming up this way. We have our residential lobby and then the parking entrance along that hill there in the back. And then this is a typical floor plan. So you can see on the second floor here, we have some of the residential amenities and this outdoor deck, which I'll show you again in the rendering, but part of our idea is that we want the building to be present in the neighborhood. So there's this outdoor area. The amenity spaces are glass filled and very visible and part of the streetscape. And then this would be a typical floor plate on a residential floor. And mixture of apartment sizes. Again, some of this to be determined still in design, but we would have a mix of different types of units. We would have 30% studios, 50% one bedrooms, and 20% two bedrooms, total of 111 units. It's a 7-story building with 6 stories of residential over the 1-story commercial. Total of 11,670 commercial, again on Main Street, 121,000 of total square footage. And again, depending on how the parking conversation works out, between 26 and 89 parking spaces.
Yeah, so, as we've communicated throughout this process, we're extremely excited. Something about MM Partners, and I think, kind of Brewerytown speaks to this, is that we love activating these, communities, and we love curating a really interesting commercial and retail corridor that's not only going to complement the existing community members, but also the new community members that, that we're trying to build a reputable alternative for people to come, live, work, and really enjoy Norristown and the Main Street and the building that we have to offer. We're a big proponent of the rising tide lifts all ships, and we were having a conversation earlier that there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in Norristown, and just as we saw in Brewerytown, it's really, really exciting to come in and engage with community members and really just cement the Main Street and retail corridor. So again, we're really excited, and And, appreciate everyone's time and look forward to some questions.
Council, any questions or comments? Councilman Jones.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. How many floors again, and handicap accessibility and elevators, what would that look like when it comes to the building?
Yeah, there's 6 residential floors over 1 commercial. And I think we have at least, there's 2 elevators. So the building will be fully accessible on all levels. And the commercial being, fully accessible along Main Street.
I had another question.
Yeah.
We had a large project come here, really nice, expensive project. And as of lately, I saw that they actually moved to City Line Avenue. So is that something long-term, your brand being here, or,
100%. 100%. I mean, we, like I said, we've been in Brewerytown since 2001. Our company, COVID has definitely aged me sooner, but we're here to stay. I mean, we like to go in. I mean, my son is 19 months old. I want him to be stepping into those shoes, in 30-something years. So, like I said, we really love the characteristics. We're drawing a lot of similarities between Norristown and Brewerytown. We've already had our eye on a couple different things, and feel like the blueprint is ready to kind of rinse and repeat.
Council, any other questions or comments? I just have a comment, in case anyone wants to know, we went through a lot of great developers in regards to this property. We could have picked any one of them, because that's how good they were. We thought this one was the best one so far. Everything that you did here, we actually talked to them about, so they're actually in tune with how we want to operate and how we want to see things thrive to come to the municipality. And this is not going to be the first, it's not going to be the last. When we all took this on, we all said we wanted to change Norristown's scope. And we're here now, so we hope you're happy with it. And that's what I have to say, and I thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, any other comments or questions?
Yeah, Derek, Council President.
Councilman Jones.
Yeah, one more thing to piggyback off of Council President. We had some tough decisions to make, but we also considered the financial component of it. A lot of developers, they may come to your community and they might want, extra money, or they might want assistance. And we felt, that MM Partners had the strongest financial backing and portfolio, which would allow them to build this, but also not put Norristown in any financial distress or any type of financial situation. So,
Can you tell them all of the great incentives that you guys have in regards to your financials, of what you would help with the community with, and getting entrepreneurs here, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, we would almost utilize some of the commercial footprint and create like an incubator space. We're doing this in Brewerytown, where it would draw some young entrepreneurs, and we would provide resources, obviously, kind of, for very cost effective, if not free, to get people in and starting businesses and things of that nature. We also have really interesting financial alternatives, so that we could bring about a trophy style product and really not tax some of the, the residential tenants. We're not going to, obviously charge an incredible amount of rent. And then for the commercial and the retail, it's really getting creative with our sources, so that we can provide almost a turnkey space to incentivize, business owners and entrepreneurs to come and rent at our building and contribute to the change in scope, to the Council President's point about, really changing the landscape. And, we've learned this in Brewerytown, we've learned this throughout the years, where if you provide someone with a platform where they can easily operate, and they have a lot of runway with free rent and fit out costs and tenant improvements, that commercial user is going to be excited, they're going to excel, they're going to thrive, and the ability to curate really complementary uses with the other additional commercial retail and retail tenants is something that is incredibly critical. In addition to coming up with creative ways and as it relates to other parts of the financial sources.
Yeah, and some of the financial instruments we use allow us to essentially remove some of the capital-intensive hurdles that smaller businesses, entrepreneurs, otherwise might not be able to rent a space like this. Because of the financing that we're able to use, like Joe said, we can offer turnkey spaces where the improvements would be rolled into the rent, allowing a business that might otherwise never be able to have the capital or have access to capital or a loan might be able to inhabit these spaces. I think that's a key to what we did successfully in Brewery Town, because we want these businesses to be of the community and useful to our residents and all the residents of Norristown.
Council, any other questions or comments? We will now turn it over to the public. Public, any questions or comments? Go ahead, sir.
As far as
Can you just please state your name and address, sir, just for the
I
record?
did.
Andrew Green, 1515 DeKalb. You talked about rent not being as expensive. I wanted to know if you had any ideas on affordable renting or where the rent might be on a cost basis?
Yeah, I mean, we try, our entire thesis as developers is to really get creative on the front end so that we can over-improve a building and provide a Class A or trophy-style building for rents that are not necessarily in line with traditional Class A and trophy-style buildings. So, I think for us, we're targeting kind of in the 1,400-ish range. Based on the floor plan, our idea is to create fairly large units, to have an outdoor green space amenity. Obviously, we've all have been navigating through COVID. It's a really interesting time where, providing that green space and open air amenity, especially in the building that you live and potentially work at, is something it's extremely important to us. And then also just having the amenities, having the yoga room, having the bike storage, the pet washing station, the gym, and doing it in such a manner where, again, you're kind of over-improving, and the justification in the eyes of the renter is like, hey, this monthly expense is going to cover, your gym membership. It's going to cover your yoga membership. It's going to cover, a lot of different things, and creating those kind of partnerships with the commercial tenants, so that if there's a coffee shop or a dry cleaning service, again, it's you're kind of, for lack of a better term, you're in this partnership together, whether you're a residential renter, a commercial tenant, the developers, so.
Any other questions, public? Mr. McMahon, please state your name and your address, please.
My name's David McMahon. I live at 721 Halls Avenue. I just had a few questions. I saw that your architect, Eli Storch, is a LEED certified architect. And realizing, you have to weigh all the costs, affordability here. I wondered, thinking 10, 20 years down the road, do you have plans for things like green roof, gray water systems, storm catchments, things to deal with, permeable surfaces, around the building, that kind of thing? And if they're not in the plan already, would there be a way to sort of like add them easily somewhere down the road when it was maybe more cost effective to do that?
Yeah, I mean, from a sustainability point of view, yeah, we like you said, we would hire a professional that was LEED certified. We may it would be likely that the building wouldn't become a certified building, but we would be using the accredited professionals, and that's really just a decision, again, as you mentioned, about economics. But we are planning on green roof services, because that's beneficial to not only the planet, but to us as developers, and reducing our stormwater input into the municipal system is a benefit for everyone. And I think, yeah, we would certainly be open to exploring green infrastructure further. But I would say that the current building codes and building climate really result in a pretty efficient building to begin with. We go further usually in terms of using LED lighting, and there are certain things that make the building better to operate. In terms of daylighting, a lot of great windows, operable windows so that every unit has fresh air. And there are some good basic design principles that we would adhere to. And yeah, we'd certainly be open to and interested in exploring that further.
Public, any other questions or comments? Any questions or comments?
I suggest a motion to close the public hearing and
Yep.
take action.
Got it. Can we have a motion to close the public hearing in regards to the redevelopment proposal of M&M Partners for redevelopment of the Main and DeKalb parcels, conditioned upon M&M Partners executing a redevelopment contract satisfactory to the municipality and the redevelopment authority?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Can we have a motion to approve the redevelopment proposal of M&M Partners for redevelopment to the Main and DeKalb Street parcels, conditioned upon M&M Partners executing a redevelopment contract satisfactory to the municipality and the redevelopment authority?
Motion.
Second.
Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Valerie Newman.
Aye.
Hakeem Jones.
Aye.
Sandy Sanders.
Aye.
Rebecca Smith.
Aye.
Thomas LaPera.
Aye.
Derek Perry.
Aye, the ayes have it. Welcome to Norristown.
Thank you. Now the hard work begins.
Mr. O'Denenbo, can you lead us, please, in the approval of salt canopies?
Good evening, Council. This is a request by the Public Works Director for the approval for the purchase of salt canopies for the sum of $25,897.60. Because of the new building, the reconstruction of the municipal hall, we are relocating the present salt location to 1300 Stem Bridge. So this is for the canopies that are actually using for these new salt barns. So we purchased the canopies from Ohio, and we are asking the council to approve through a resolution the sum of $25,807.60. I'll be ready to answer questions that you have. Council.
Any questions or comments?
It's exciting.
We'll get them more excited. Council, any other questions or comments for Mr. O'Denenbo? Okay, seeing none, can we have a motion to request the motion for Public Works Director for the approval for the purchase of salt canopies for the sum of $25,897.60?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Valerie Newman.
Aye.
Hakeem Jones.
Aye.
Sandy Sanders.
Aye.
Rebecca Smith.
Aye.
Thomas LaPera.
Aye.
Derek Perry.
Aye, the ayes have it, motion passes. Mr. Singh.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council, before you is a request to approve or deny the Historical Architectural Review Board applications, which were received, reviewed, and recommended for approval by the HARB for August 2021. As you are all aware, the Norristown HARB receives applications on a monthly basis regarding exterior repairs and renovations to properties which are located in Norristown's historic districts. Those applications are reviewed by the HARB members to confirm that the repair and or the renovation work which is being proposed is in compliance with our ordinance. The HARB board has reviewed the following two applications and have approved either as submitted or modified as mentioned on the certificate of appropriateness the following two projects: 1108 DeKalb Street and Main Street Streetscape project.
Okay, council, any questions, comments? Councilman Jones.
Yeah, Mr. Singh, with the recent floods, and, you know, we know that upkeep in historical buildings are tough as it is. Can we consider something in the future for buildings that were impacted that were historical? That may cost property owners a lot more money for reasons that they couldn't control. So I don't know if that falls into this, but that was on my mind about some of the older buildings that may have gotten damaged.
Of course, sir. So as you're aware, we've actually taken steps previously. This municipal council did. I can't remember the exact date, but we had shared with council that at one point almost 44% of Norristown had a historical designation. And when we reviewed all of those properties, we went neighborhood by neighborhood, and we discovered that all of these areas actually did not need to be designated historic, and only certain neighborhoods and corridors actually deserve that recognition and that designation. So we went from about 44% of all properties in Norristown down to less than 20%. So that was one action that council has already taken previously. Now regarding the specific storm that occurred, as Mr. President Perry had already shared, we will be waiving all permit fees. All fees are going to be waived. Permits are still going to be required to be obtained before work is performed. But we will definitely take into consideration any type of repair work that needs to be done to exteriors of buildings in historic districts. I will also attend any of those HARB board meetings as I normally do to inform the HARB board members of the position that council has to make sure that it is going to be easy for these property owners and residents that were affected by the storm to do any type of repair or renovation work to their properties. And we'll make sure to help facilitate the process and not, tied up with any type of red tape that historical design requirements may require.
Council, any other questions or comments? Council Vice President Perry.
I think it's just important to note for the people that might be listening, you said the permit fees will be waived, but that's just for storm damage, correct?
That is correct, Mr. Vice President.
And that they would have to or sign up on the county website
That is correct.
of the damage assessment?
That is correct,
Okay.
sir. So only properties that were affected by the storm and have reported that damage to Montgomery County, they actually have a link on their website. We have the information posted on our municipal website as well. There's a property damage assessment form. It's a very short form, just a couple of questions. And the county has requested that property owners please fill out that information if their property was damaged. And those specific properties that have informed the county that there was damage at their property would be the ones where permit fees are going to be waived. And there is a detailed, a little bit more detailed information available, which Kevin will be uploading onto the website sometime tomorrow.
Council, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have a motion to approve the Historical Architectural Review Board applications received, reviewed, and recommended by approval by the HARB of August 2021?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, roll call please.
Valerie Newman. Hakeem Jones.
Aye.
Sandy Sanders.
Aye.
Rebecca Smith.
Aye.
Thomas LaPera.
Aye.
Barry Perry.
Aye, the ayes have it, motion passes.
Thank you, Council.
Jane or Mr. Solicitor, is this you?
Yeah, I can go ahead and take it. That's fine.
Yep.
I'll do my best Crandall Jones impersonation.
No problem. We need you to get your southern accent
There we
there.
go. I didn't wear my seer something tonight. After Labor Day. All right. So right here, we're going to request for council to approve resolution 2174 for right-of-way and temporary construction easement for county bridge work along Sterigere Street. Montgomery County Transportation Authority is preparing to perform certain bridge work on County Bridge 177 that is located in Norristown and spans Stony Creek and is connected on either side by Sterigere. Facts and issues. The Transportation Authority has requested that the municipality execute a quitclaim deed to grant approximately 5,140 square feet of fee simple right-of-way and approximately 16,074 square feet of temporary construction easement along Sterigere Street to the Montgomery County Transportation Authority in order to perform the necessary bridge work and repairs. So our options are we can either agree to this or not agree to this. It sounds like it's in Norristown's interest as we will be getting a bridge repair.
Council, any questions or comments? Well, I got a comment that I'm glad that we're finally getting something majorly done in regards to bridges. It's been long overdue. I'm in favor of actually making sure that they get this done. So can we have any other questions or comments for this? Can we have a motion to pass resolution 21-74, which is a quitclaim deed for Bridge 177 and Sterigere Street Row?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call?
Valerie Moman. Hakeem Jones.
Aye.
Sonia Sanders.
Aye.
Rebecca Smith.
Aye.
Thomas LaPera.
Aye.
Derek Perry.
Before I say aye, I do have a question. Do we know when this will start?
I have no idea, Thomas. Do you have any idea? Or no?
Do you have an idea of when this will,
I don't have
when
an
it will
idea.
start?
I'm sorry, I don't.
And if we can get that answer, I would appreciate it.
I'll email Crandall and ask him.
Okay. And that is aye. Resolution number 21-74 passes. And Councilwoman Moman, if you want to say aye or nay in regards to it.
This was the
Yeah.
Quitclaim
bridge
deed for
repair
bridge repair.
authorizations.
Yes. Aye.
Sean?
All right, sure. We have a declaration of disaster emergency related to Ida. Unfortunately, council in the last couple of years has been through this before for various other natural disasters. Doing this declaration of disaster emergency will in the future allow us to apply for and be eligible for PEMA and FEMA and different kinds of aid or county aid related to this. So this is a necessary step for council.
Council, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, can we have a motion to pass resolution 21-75, which is in regards to the Hurricane Ida disaster declaration?
So moved.
Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call, please?
Valerie Moman.
Aye.
Hakeem Jones.
Aye.
Sonia Sanders.
Aye.
Rebecca Smith.
Aye.
Thomas LaPera.
Aye.
Derek Perry.
Aye, the ayes have it, resolution 21-75 passes. Mr. Bishop, Lieutenant Bishop?
Okay, for Norristown Police Department for August, a couple of points I'd like to hit on that I saw as great things for us. First off, in August, our 28-day stats, which is our slice of time where we can take a look at what crime trends are, was the best we've had since 2018. So we had a 35% decrease in August for part-one crimes throughout the town. So it was very good to see that. Because July we had a good jump in thefts, but nothing major. But August things dropped off. One thing, shootings were still low. We're still below our goals and objectives for 2021. Although we just had one last night. Although while attending this meeting, I found out the person involved in that shooting was arrested tonight, and the gun was recovered, and the person who was shot is going to survive. So that was really good news, really good work by our detective division. In less than 24 hours, had one solved. Shots fired were still about 13% increase over last year. Luckily, we haven't had too many last year. A couple things for pattern crimes. We've identified 3 new pattern crimes. One was a theft of catalytic converters, which has been plaguing the entire area. We actually made an arrest of 3 people from Philadelphia after theft up in the west end of town. They hit Plymouth, West Norton, and then us, and got caught by us, or at midnight guys. So that was great. That's one of those things that has the entire southeastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware area on the lookout for these thefts, because they could do it in less than 2 minutes and get away with a $1,500 piece of equipment from under your car. The other was work trucks. We haven't been able to get anything on this. Work trucks are being broken into by force and tools are being taken, again, in less than a couple of minutes. We've had very little luck in trying to track down who's doing this, but it's the same method of opportunity and for each one. It looks like they're looking for large work vans that tools are going to be stored in, hidden them overnight, pulling the locks out and then taking the tools and going. Since we only have one pawn shop left in the town, we don't know where they're going because they're not ending up here. And the third one was one of our usual suspects, theft from motor vehicles, although it was concentrated up 450 Forest Avenue and around a couple of buildings. So we're guessing that it's probably a couple juveniles that live in that complex or right around there. We had 3 over a couple of days and then they stopped. So I think our police presence up there overnight stopped that problem. I want to touch on directed patrols. In August, we had an increase in directed patrols in our hot zones, which I'm going to coincide with our decrease in Part 1 crimes. So it was nice to see that when we have the increase in directed patrols in the offices where they need to be, we have a decrease in crimes in those same areas. We don't have all the numbers for August yet for overdoses, but I know our overdoses are still way down from last year. We're still doing our Operation Rebound throughout the town. They've adjusted some of the hours to get out there in the morning now, where we can engage some of the people that are addicted to the opioids and hopefully get them off the street and get them help. We've seen that we've moved a lot of them out of town. We've gotten them help. Our homeless population seems to be dwindling now, especially around the transportation center. So the more work we put into that, the better off we're going to be. And then for our year to date, we're about the same as last year. We have not seen a spike since last year, going into this year. It's about 5% increase. Most of that we are putting at the earlier problems we have with theft of motor vehicles, where people leaving them running and unlocked, and people are taking the cars, and aggravated assaults. And then the nice thing about aggravated assaults, I mean, it's not nice, but there's about a 98% clearance on arrests with each one of those. I think there's 2 outstanding out of the 30-some that we've had reported this year, most of which were domestic violence, and a lot were against officers, which is a little disturbing, but a lot of it was mental health consumers that we were trying to get help with, and turns into an assault on an officer. But like I said, I think there's only 2 outstanding aggravated assaults throughout the entire year that have not been solved with an arrest. So that we do a really great job with the follow-ups and the investigations part on that. That's all I have.
Council, any questions or comments? Councilman Jones.
I had a comment. Fernette Street, thank you, guys. Many of us had concerns about the speeding down Fernette Street. If anybody has seen that, they have now the radar lights that tells you how fast you're going when you're going down them, and it slows me down, so I'm sure it slows other people down. But yeah, so hopefully we can get more of those things throughout town. But they have been helping from what I see. So hopefully the data goes down.
Council, any other questions or comments? Just a comment, Vice President LaFaro.
Just want to publicly say thank you for everything the police department has done over the storm, you know, assisting with the evacuations and everything else, so thank you.
Council, any other questions or comments? Yeah, I just have one, I have one thing. I talked to Sept recently in regards to the train. I'll be having them contact you guys in regards to doing a block off of Ford Street, so the train conductor doesn't have to jump off the train in order to stop the traffic to keep on going, so we can redirect them. So I'll be sending you some information in regards to that. And then also, thank you for the detailed report. We always love to hear about our great police work. Obviously, every time, you know, Norristown got this stigma in regards to crime, and our crime is just like everybody else's crime. But we appreciate you guys working very, very hard to make sure that we're looking like a better community, and that's what all that counts. So thank you guys for your hard work, and thank you guys for, in regards to Hurricane Ida, I know it was a busy day that day, even though I was out of town, but I seen you guys as I was going out. But, you know, constantly doing a great job to make sure that everybody was safe. And unfortunately, our fire chief is not here, but you guys did a hell of a job. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I'll make sure I pass that on to everybody.
Council, any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none. Mr. Singh.
Thank you, Mr. President. So Council, I apologize. I actually didn't create a detailed monthly report as I usually do with all of the great stats and information.
No problem.
So,
An abbreviated version, I do.
so I'll just quickly share a few things. So we still have a significant increase of property transfers that are occurring in Norristown. The zoning department is also seeing the impact of the number of properties that are changing hands. So we've been really busy trying to stay on top of all of those transactions and making sure that all of those inspections are taking place as needed. That being said, we are still actually working with 30% less staff. 30% of our staff is currently out due to COVID-related leave. So we are understaffed currently, but we are still trying to make the best of the situation and make sure that everything is being processed, reviewed, and inspected in a timely fashion. A couple of the other items that I just wanted to quickly share are in the next 30 days, the 2022 rental license applications and invoices will be going out to all of the rental properties in Norristown. And the other projects that we're working on are sending out letters to all of the registered contractors to inform them of the new contractor licensing law changes that were made at the previous council meeting. That way they are ready for that renewal and licensing issuance in January, as well as informing all of our property owners and landlords and educating them regarding the new requirements under the Norristown Building Safety, Property Maintenance and Housing Code. Other than that, I really don't have any specific details to share, and I apologize for that. And I would also like to take this opportunity, if I am not out of line, to also thank Chief O'Donnell, Fire Marshal Lockhart, the entire fire department, the entire police department, and public works department. They did an outstanding job. I mean, the response, working around the clock, I got to see all of them in action, and they just did a fantastic job. So thank you for everything you guys do. And a lot of the work you guys did is not seen by every single resident, but you guys did a tremendous job. So thank you for that.
Council, any questions or comments? I just have one. In regards to, we had talked about putting a website together in regards to some of the slumlords that have multiple fractions. Where do we stand at in regards to getting that site up?
So, Mr. President, that's something that the municipal solicitor, municipal administrator, and the building department, we're currently working on seeing the legalities of putting something like that in a public fashion. And once all of those type of reviews are completed, we will definitely provide an update to council.
Yeah, President Perry, Patrick's looking into that. Some of our concern with this, and we're just doing some more research and figuring out safeguards, is I know from experience when there have been like most wanted as such on county websites, police websites and stuff, when they're actually wrong, you can get sued and with pretty big penalties. So we just want to make sure that that's all correct, rolled out, and then council understands the potential risk if there is a mistake.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that we can get in contact with the county to make sure that our records and their records match together, because that is probably the most important thing. And if we can make that happen, I'm pretty sure that this will work out for the whole community.
Trust me, thank God it was not my office, but the Bucks County Sheriff screwed up. And Bucks County got hit with a $2 million judgment because of like their most wanted post. So that made me look at the issue a little more closely than maybe I would have, but we'll get you an answer.
Yeah, appreciate it. And then thank you for the detailed report.
Mr. Singh, how are things going with us recording residential complaints? If residents are having issues with neighbors and debris, and how are we doing with tracking that and getting back to residents?
So we actually have the Norristown request tracker. So residents, property owners, business owners can actually go on the norristown.org website. There's actually a link right in the middle of the page to report any type of concern or complaint that a constituent may have. And it's not just the building department, but other departments are also on there, police, planning. So whatever question, concern, or complaint you have, you can direct it to the appropriate department, and it actually gets recorded. You'll be issued a complaint number, so that way you can verify that complaint was actually formally submitted. And the cool thing about the request tracker is that when you actually, on the back end, when we update it to say, hey, yes, a violation was found, we issued a ticket, that little snippet of an update will actually get emailed back to the original complainant. That way they're aware that we did follow up and we did find the complaint valid or unjust.
Thank you.
Council, any other questions or comments? One thing I'll say in regards to what Mr. Singh just said is, please, council, blast the information out there. We've had this information for a while to get it out to where they can reach out to Public Works, not only just calling them or calling us, but to get that website out to them to make sure that they get on there and get that information recorded and know that it's being worked on. And I know, Mr. Singh, your guys have been very good at answering all council members and actually reaching out to us and the person who actually is sending the email, so we appreciate that too. Yeah. Council, any other questions? All right, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?